Good morning, everybody. I want to do a pentatonic lesson. It's early, so I'm a little quiet, a little subdued. I just woke up. So stick with me. This is going to be a really good one. Sort of opens up the neck in a pentatonic way. Right? So when I'm teaching, sort of like learning the fretboard, the notes on the fretboard, I really like to do, let's just say if we start with A, right? Pick every A, around the neck, and then we can sort of move above the 12th fret. From there, and what that really does is it gives us, excuse me, it gives us like a little pinpoint all over the neck to then grow from, right? If we start with A, right, then we can go from A to G, A to B, in each one of those areas, right? And now we're starting to grow out, and then eventually, this A and this A, as we go to sort of like G and then up to B, and then we can sort of end up meeting. And now we're learning the whole neck, right? Rather than doing E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B flat, B, C, C sharp, that kind of stuff. Even that just is like a lot of information. And we're just on the 4th fret of the E and the A string. So I like to use that same concept when we're talking about blues, right? And the reason is to get through that whole neck. If we sort of learn the positions of the pentatonic as they relate to the root note, right? And because there's sort of like a back and a front position to the pentatonic. So let me just show you really quickly. If we start with this A, right? So if I have that one, and we're gonna do, right? That's sort of like a pretty easy pentatonic. If I do, my first note, my second note, my third note of the pentatonic, go back, and maybe touch on the note beforehand. I know that breaks out of our usual position, but that is going to help. Okay, so now, if I try to visualize this behind, right? So now this is sort of ahead of the 5th fret. If I sort of try to visualize this behind the root note, right, these positions will all start looking very familiar. So now I have this was like our normal, right, and then I kind of move down, back up. Now, right, pretty easy. I could take this up, let's go to the 12th fret, right? We're just gonna go right to the next string. So now I have the upper, it gets this is when I really like it, because now if we start seeing this position before I move on, I'm going to go to the 7th fret of my D string now. Same position, right? Everything looks exactly the same. Now, I love when it starts getting a little bit tricky. Where it'll start getting a little tricky is maybe on this open string. Right? That's all that we're really lent for that open string, right? We're not really given a whole lot of other options. But I really like it because now that opens another door that we're able to see, where if we're in this upper, we can only play the upper position, obviously, because we have the open string. Now I'm noticing like, oh, wait a minute, that back note from the root note is the same fret as my second note in the pentatonic. So now I can use that, right? So if I have this, I can now say, wait a minute, right? Same note as the second note in the pentatonic, just one string back. Right, now it's starting to open up a little bit, okay? So now let's move on, because it does get a little bit tricky. Where it's gonna get a little bit tricky is right here. Now if I do the 2nd fret of my G string, everything changes on that B string. We know that, like almost if we're doing octaves, kind of how our octaves are like a power chord, but with the string in between. 5th fret of the top string, the E string, and then 7th fret of the A. My guitar's probably not in tune. I just woke up, right? And then here I have to make up for that second string jump, I have to jump it up 1 fret. right, for those bottom two to get the octave. So it would be like a 5th fret on the D string, but an 8th fret on the B. So everything sort of changes, right, going from the 3rd string into the 2nd string. So now I have my root note, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, right? If I try to do, let's say, that isn't going to work. Our normal position where it's like that 3rd note of the pentatonic is parallel to where my root note is. It's not going to work now. I have to go, right? I can go to the open now because it's 2 frets below. Okay, so that changes now. If I add the concept that we were just talking about, 2, 5, and then 3 on the 2nd string, right? 5, 2, and then it's still parallel to get that back note, right? Just like we did before. It's like only that 2nd string that gets a little tricky. Right now, if I try to do the back end of it here, right? I have so 2, and then on the 2nd string 1, 3, because I have to compensate for that 2nd string, and then my open, right? So now that becomes a new position. So anytime that we're playing the pentatonic and our root note is somewhere here, I love using that for E. If I'm playing, right? That just like that, that's my root note here. If I was playing an E, right, the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and it's the same deal. It's not parallel, right? I have to compensate for that 3rd string to 2nd string relationship, right? Giving me the kind of feel, right? But I know that that's going to happen if I'm looking at my root note on the 3rd string. All right. So now the next few are sort of the same. If I go back to A, right? I've got my 10th fret of my 2nd string now, right? If I do, cool, pretty standard, right? Just like the other ones that we were doing. To get that back note, it's not parallel. It's the 12th fret, right? I got to think about that 3rd string to 2nd string relationship. That's the only place that this is really going to make a huge change. So now I got, right? And I love that because that does pop up a lot in the blues, right? That kind of a lick, 10, 12 on the bottom string, and then a 13 bent up, and then my root note. 10 on the 2nd string, and then I can go back to that 12 on the 3rd string and back to my root note. So there we can sort of start seeing the same relationship between those two strings. Now if I do sort of the back end of it, because I'm not changing to the 3rd string, I don't have that change from the 2nd string to 3rd string relationship. It looks just like, right? Same deal. Now what happens is we're starting to focus on the A, the root note, and a little bit forward and a little bit back in the pentatonic. And now we can really bridge those together. Right? And I'm never, coupling that with learning the positions of the pentatonic is way more effective than learning just the positions of the pentatonic, because never in a solo when I'm moving through the neck, or even just in that like little example, I'm never thinking, oh, what position of the pentatonic am I in? I'm just sort of playing through and knowing the note relationship to the root note, or how far I am from the root note and its note value. So I would recommend doing that, going along slowly and then trying it in different keys, right? It's really, really effective. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me this morning, and I will see you soon.